Space, the final frontier. Space Station Ashland sits on the edge of Federation space with its companion ship, the USS Dalamis Christian. The space around them is full of mystery and strange wonders, where secrets are kept and danger lurks around every corner. The crew of the Dalamis Christian must navigate treacherous waters as they work to protect the Federation. But as they peer into the unknown, they will discover that the line between friend and foe is not always clear. They will be tested like never before and will face challenges that will push them to their limits. Join us on this adventure as we explore the farthest reaches of space and uncover the hidden truths that lie within the shadows. Tabletop Journeys presents Star Trek Preservations.
Welcome back, travelers. We are returning to Star Trek Preservations, Quick Treks, and the cost of kindness. When we return to Captain Sabian Tobor of the USS Dalamis Christian in the middle of negotiations with a mission that was updated last minute by the Federation Diplomatic Corps, it is of critical importance that these negotiations go Starfleet's way. Dori says, why don't we just check out the science station and see what they've got going on? Maybe there's, I don't know. Maybe we can figure out what this place needs so we can talk to some Starfleet folks and see if there's anything that could be helpful here.
Yes, let's do that. I need a good think.
So with that, you go to a transporter station. You can transport there. You don't have to fly anywhere in specific unless you would like to. Transport right to the science station. Eli Tor is the scientific outpost. Roughly 50 to 75 personnel. They conduct atmospheric studies, xenoarchaeological studies, preservation of the transcendent ruins, and the station itself is located on a ridge near the capital city's footprint, so they're not far away. There are a mix of scientists there from various polities, but there is a Starfleet mission there that is kind of leading the charge on the science here.
Well, Lieutenant, I see some perfectly good archaeological ruins, and I would hate to keep you from them. So if you want to head on out that way, I'll connect with the mission commander.
Sounds good. Enjoy, Captain. She starts heading out into the archaeological labs to see what's going on there. When you check in at the administration level of the outpost, there was a single security person along with the engineer at the transporter pad. That's pretty much the only security you've seen here. And other than that honor guard, you've not seen security anywhere here. That doesn't seem to be a thing around here that you can tell. But you go into the administration building, and there is one of the non-sentient Sunian androids at the desk.
Oh, I am Captain Sabian Tobor. I am here to see the station mission commander.
Oh, Captain Sabian Tobor. One moment, please. Do you have an appointment?
No, I do not. I am just dropping by to give my regards.
Oh, a regards appointment, then. Okay. One moment. I'll see if Dr. Soval is busy.
Okay. Thank you.
He stands up and literally just opens the door, doesn't touch. There's a Captain Sabian Tobor for you. And then you hear a voice that feels familiar to you. Did you say Tobor? It's a feminine voice, and it seems very familiar.
And I do the looking up through all of my Trill memories, like which Saval is this?
And then it hits you. Your Trill memories won't help you here. This is a voice that Sabian knew before joining. Out from the office door, practically pushing past the android, is a doctor, Lenari Soval. And you remember her as a very close, say, amorous friend before you were joined. Sabian?
Lenore?
What are you doing here?
What are you doing here?
He points at the sign. Administrator, Master of Science.
Yes, yes, but last I had heard you were at Daystrom.
Yeah, I left. This was a position I couldn't pass up. Once we heard about the supernova, we had to be some part of helping.
Maybe I'm missing something.
So do you know what we even do here?
Science? I will be honest, I have not, that was not part of my briefing mission. I'm here to talk to the governor, amongst other things, about possibly relocating some 20,000 refugees from Romulus and secure an easement for an observation platform and possibly negotiate a agreement for Starfleet patrols to stop and refuel and refit here.
Wow. They
This is
didn't
more
give
just a
you
footnote.
they didn't give you the light mission, did they?
No, they don't send captains out to just do the easy stuff. That's what they got diplomatic attaches for dotting I's and crossing T's.
Without a doubt. Come in.
Yeah.
And when you go in, that she has a little burner thing like she used to do when you knew each other before. She uses her little Bunsen burner to brew her tea. Oh, she's Trill. Unjoined, but she's Trill.
Okay.
Want tea?
Of course.
She pours it. I did a vacation in Solon a few years ago and fell in love with their tea. And quite honestly, Shy of Bajor, some of the best Hasperat I've ever had.
I didn't quite manage to get the Hasperat last time I was there, but it was a very odd experience there.
Did you go to the mountains?
Yes, yes, we did the whole quest up the hill and everything and found the correct token and got and won the challenge actually.
Oh, that's excellent. I had vacation there, and then when we came here and we noticed we were having labor shortages, one of the contacts I had made in Solon had discussed the use of the androids to help out. And so we've been bringing them in, and they've been really helping the scaling up of various projects.
Labor shortages, you say. Is this with your mission or just colony wide?
Colony wide,
Oh,
there's a lot of people, but the colony is, quite honestly, a lot of older folks and very young at middle prime working age, both on a physical level for the jobs that require that and on an intellectual level for the jobs of the service industry types of jobs that are required. We just don't have a lot of folks in that bracket, or not enough, not at the scale we need to keep the colony self-sufficient. So our science mission here is largely been to come up with ways to improve food production without introducing unknown variables to the scenario because this colony is largely self-producing.
And exporting, if my briefing is correct.
Yes, but there's a project they're building new starports so they can export faster. We have food stores that are produced rapidly enough due to the orbit of the planet and the cycles. The Etherian microforma has been instrumental in the planet basically producing on its own, but it produces so much so fast that if it's not harvested rapidly, it can be a lot of production can be lost. And we currently don't have enough facilities to offload the excess for the colony. So there's a lot of waste material, which we do actually sell as composite, compost, and parts for replication. But as far as the actual natural born foodstuffs that need to go to various other places, it's not enough. Knowing about the Nova, I proposed while I was at Daystrom putting together a team to understand one, how this system works, two, to build up production capacity so that these things can be sent to all the places that might be housing refugees.
I see. That is very timely. So I know you said, and the governor also mentioned this, that they're building the new starport, but have they secured the trade ships and lift capacity? Or are they still in the infrastructure building phase?
They're in the infrastructure building phase. Nobody's entering into contracts for something that for a place they can't get into in a reasonable amount of time at this point. We're basically bottlenecked. We've got to increase
Gotcha,
our
gotcha.
capacity
Well, that's good
first.
to know because I've got some contacts back on Aslan Station that I might be able to put together some initial contingent contracts that the governor may be interested in.
Right now, the biggest stumbling block is, as I said, the labor. But fortunately, the Bureau on Solon has been very interested in providing Sunian androids that they have in mass there to assist in the process.
Those things, I don't know, I don't like the way they look at you without sentient intelligence behind their eye.
Oh, they're perfectly pleasant.
Too pleasant. The uncanny valley between them and us is unsettling.
For as long as I've known you, Sabian, you've always said that. I had hoped that with the Tobor symbiote, you'd get beyond that. Maybe
You know,
you're,
we took a
maybe,
vote, it was 2-7.
I think you're worried about nothing. Like I
I
said,
hope you're right.
this entire facility was built by the A1s.
No, don't get me wrong, they're excellent machines. It's just any tool can be used for good or for bad.
We're doing good here.
I can
We're
see
we're
that.
very close. We actually uncovered an a series of ancient artifacts. We're working on the translations now.
Yes, much to my science officer's delight. In fact, she tagged along specifically to be able to study them because we've been, well, one of my missions I've been working on is investigating an ancient civilization that used to inhabit this region 8 to 10,000 years ago. If these ruins tie to the other ruins on other sites that we've been to, it could help us better understand the extent in which their civilization settled across this region of space.
Hmm. What can you tell me about this other civilization?
Not too much. Have you heard of the world Zunia?
No.
Yeah, it's a polity outside of Federation space, and they have an interesting history going back. And there was this other Tethys where we found similar artifacts that may or may not be linked. It's all very sciency, and
She leans back. She points down at the nameplate on her desk. Really? Sciencey.
yes.
Gotcha. Well, what are you doing for dinner?
Oh, I was gonna just visit one of the restaurants off the Traveler's Guide, Azig's Traveler's Guide to the Aryan public cuisine, but I would be more than pleased to get a chance to catch up.
Then we should do that.
Outstanding. This is a mission full of surprises.
It sure is.
How did I not know? Well, I've been busy. Starfleet does that to you.
I have questions about that, but Starfleet again?
The right of unfinished business.
They don't usually let people succeed with that one.
There's been a lot of extenuating circumstances that the Eternity Council found compelling.
More of that sciencey stuff, I would think.
No, this is the stabby stuff.
I remember when we were really young, you said you never wanted to do that kind of thing.
Yeah. Best laid plans never survive contact with the enemy.
They sure don't. She says, I do have a few things I have to take care of in my labs. Why don't you join your officer and see if you can give her a hand with stuff?
Yeah, I'll go see if I can dig up a rock or two. It might be interesting.
The scene opens. You are at the station, the scientific mission, and the station's name is Eli Tor. Dori is at a big table. There's several artifacts there. There's a pad you recognize as you're walking up that it has markings from the Dalamas Christian. She has a scientific tricorder configured for archaeology. She is doing scans of what appears to be metal technology embedded within the heart of some form of stone. And the floor is yours. Work. There are a few other scientists running around doing different things, but your crew member is digging into the work.
I'll just saunter up behind her and just do a peer over the shoulder. So how's the carbon dating going?
Oh, this isn't the carbon dating. This is translation, Captain.
Yeah. Is it in our time is it in our time scale that we're looking at? Or is it
So,
older?
yes, but I'm not getting any indication that it's dealing too much with the things that we've been dealing with.
Hmm.
But it is in that time frame. This species appears to have been very advanced. They have effectively a computer unit, not dissimilar from our pad devices, and it seems to be bonded with the stone in some fashions. Basically, they seem to have a lot of stone work and natural formations, and their technology seems to be embedded within. So when you were looking at their buildings, there's any number of hidden devices within.
Interesting. Are they using like a crystalline lattice matrix?
I'm not sure just yet. Right now, what we're trying to figure out is the method of bonding, but or that's what part of the science team here is doing. They're doing some experiments trying to see if they can replicate that because we have a few sites where we have the devices and not the stone. So we've taken some of their original stone that wasn't part of a specific dig site and they're trying to see if they can replicate the bonding based on what they've figured out. What I'm doing is trying to figure out a translation. There seems to be a message that's etched into the stone that seems to be the save screen, if you will, on all of the devices. And I am trying to crack the code to see if that's something we can configure to a language that the universal translator will be able to decipher.
Excellent. Let's see what we can make of this.
Absolutely. Do you want to pull up a chair, Captain?
Of course. I always love doing science.
Excellent. She shows you three different devices, and she shows you how they are how they're configured. One is a pad device. One appears to be some kind of CPU device or control device. And then the third one, they haven't exactly figured out what it does yet. Like they haven't even been able to get it to turn on. It does not have the save screen. It's actually like blank screened. And the pad device is in a flat piece of stone. The control unit is actually, it was unearthed and it was actually a pillar. So it had a wide square base and probably a 2 foot wide cylinder and then a diagonal cut in the cylinder so the device is on the top. So based on some drawings that you see displayed in 3D imagery over the table, it looks like it was planted in the ground. It was a control device. And then the other unit, like I said, it's not on. They haven't figured out how to turn that on. But so this is from a site near the equator. And near as we can tell, it's one of the few sites that does not see the storms. And there's one of these devices that's on in all of the sites where the storms will pass. Basically, all the planting regions. So the few regions that don't have plantings, we're still looking, but the assumption is they have devices like this that are not working.
So in theory, if we can get these possibly working again, whatever it is that's interacting with the aerial phytoplankton may be able to be expanded to larger geographic regions. That's what the working theory is.
It is. They're less worried about that and more interested in deciphering how it works. Like, we don't know what the connection between these devices and that is. They're not willing to take apart anything that's currently providing food. But if we take a unit that's already down, that's the type of unit we can begin to experiment with. And if possible, maybe we can replicate that in other settings.
All right, let's dig into this.
So I have a couple things that I've been looking at. Unfortunately, with all of my studies, one of my areas that I'm not specifically good at is Klingon history and in specific the Herc. There's a couple symbols that seem similar to that, but different. Similar to what the Universal Translator recognizes as Herc symbology, but the Universal Translator has never been able to decipher the Herc language, their idioms or what have you. I am thinking that this species may have had some dealing with the Herc at some point, and quite possibly, if we can find a way to get their language to the Herc language, from there we should be able to extrapolate to the Klingon language, and that would give us the ability to roughly, if not completely, translate.
It's a good thing one of my past hosts was a linguist. Studied under Hoshi Sato, in fact.
That's a good pedigree there, Captain.
Yeah, Tobor's been around for quite a while.
I think so. If you got that, why don't you take on that part of it, and I'll keep working on the technology. And if you need a hand with any symbology that I may have uncovered, I will certainly assist you.
Well, let me dust off the cobwebs. It's been a hot minute since I've had to translate an alien language since we all invented this newfangled universal translator. Take a look. And so I start diving in and pulling up the various linguistical databases, running models, and all the things one does to try and figure out what it is.
Excellent. All right. To get the translation to get the symbology to match to the Herc and get that translation, we're looking at a difficulty 3.
Okay.
And no complication range here.
All right. Would it be possible if my species trait that I am indeed joined symbiote, have the symbiosis trait, would that be useful in lowering the difficulty?
Yeah, I'll give you that.
All right. So then of the difficulty 2, I'm going to spend 1 of the momentum we generated and for a third die, and then I am going to, I think this falls squarely under a reason science roll.
Sounds good.
So I'm looking at a 14 or less.
All right.
All right. I got a 1, a 2, and a 19. So I've got 4 successes.
All right. She's going to assist. And Dori with a reason science and a focus. But she rolled a 13, so that is a success. So you got 5 there.
All right.
And out of 2, that gives you 3 momentum, bringing you to a total of 4 momentum versus 6 threat. You're able to get this translated into some information that the universal translator and the computer models indicate this is similar to the most recent version of the Herc language and symbology that has been uncovered, or at least provided to Federation scholars from either Orion sources or Klingon sources. There is some question as to whether all artifacts and information has actually been provided, though there seems to be better exchange now because of the nature of the Empire and the nature of the syndicates. There's always the thought that there could be additional information that hasn't been made available.
So I do have my bonus momentum for being patient that I have to spend. So would it make sense to spend an additional momentum to do essentially short circuit the need for another roll and just have the translation completed? Or would you prefer me to use it for gather information and do the question?
I am prepared, and the mission is written in such a way that either is a viable option. To your question, I would say dealer's choice.
All right, then I'll spend the bonus and 1 of the 4 momentum to create that perfect translation trait and use it to get the Rosetta Stone effect and be able to build a linguistical database model, get us to the part where we can like understand what it's talking about.
With your perfect translation, the first things that you're able to determine is the ancient name for the star, the planet, and the name of the species themselves. So the name of the star is Zalthamar. At least that's what the ancient species called it. The name of their planet was also Velkara. And then they were known as the Velkaran. The other bit of your translation is more poetic and does require some interpretation. So you have the words, you have the actual translation, but it's done in a way that doesn't quite describe anything specific, but it is very poetic, allegorical kind of thing. So you're catching stories. It's more like the opening stanza of what could possibly be a longer work. Think of Shakespeare. One could say, "We will not leave the half-achieved half-lure until in her ashes she lay buried." It's one of those things where you get the flowery language, but the specific meaning is less of a translation effort at this point, more of a cultural understanding.
Got it.
And based on what you have, Dori is like excited, like she just loves this. And with what you have, she adds some additional information that she has been working on. I am actually going to roll to make sure that she has that information for her. That difficulty was set at a 3 as well, too, similar to your test. And she succeeds with 3 successes, so she will add momentum to the pool. And so she provides you with information that will help a bit of that understanding. So effectively, the difficulty is reduced on the understanding piece based on what she has put together. So now this task is down to a 2 with no complication range either.
Got it. I don't think I'm going to use a focus on this one. So I think this one I think will be more, I guess, insight command about the nature of the culture.
Okay.
From what I know from my focus on diplomacy and protocols and xenoanthropology of what kind of there are strands in alien species and they tend to have history doesn't repeat, but it often rhymes kind of
Yep.
thing.
Ooh, I like that. That's a good value.
I know. So I got a 5 and a 6. I don't, if xenoanthropology would let me get a focus, that'd be 3 successes.
All right, you got it. Dori adds with a 2. So she adds another 2.
We're up to 5, I believe.
Yep. And out of 2, that gives you 3 momentum. So you've got 1 bonus momentum at this point. The Velkaran advanced to a certain point and figured they had transcended. There's some symbology to that. But more importantly, the reason why they focused and chose to transcend is they felt the pressure of encroaching empires and polities. So effectively, they were being pressed by the Herc in a very physical nature, and they became much more insular and retreated to their home world because of incursions from the others. And that does match species epsilon. They didn't have any direct dealings, but basically when they had ventured out, whenever they saw signs that this mysterious possessing enemy was coming closer to them, they retreated, and they felt that the galaxy was gone. Like they didn't think there was a way to survive if they stayed. Rather than face those enemies in 1,000 years, they focused their energies on transcendence, and they left before anybody got to their shores.
No, I don't think that's a good option for the Federation, but we'll put it in the archives.
The last thing that it will say that this unlocks is what that third unit is, and that third unit is a device that creates that biological life, but it can only do that one type of thing. It is, however, a technology that requires a very specific power source, which happens to be energy from the core of this world. And that energy emanates from the actual stones and rocks of the planet. So over time, they can power the planet with that technology, but it's not technology that could ever leave the planet unless you found another world with the same composition, same situation as this. But it does mean this could quite possibly be the most resource rich world the Federation has come across because it's an entire planet that is a resource, and it's renewable because it's literally the planet creates the energy by virtue of the speed of its spin. It's basically just generating energy in its core because of the way it operates around its star.
Lieutenant,
Yes, sir.
per my authority under Section 82845, I'm classifying this entire project ultraviolet. You will not speak of this to anyone until you are debriefed and given permission. Is that understood?
Understood, sir.
You understand the
I'm
implications of what we just found, right?
we just discovered that this colony could be the epicenter of an intergalactic war if people understood what was possible.
Exactly.
Sir, there are scientists from 15 different species and at least 5 polities from the Alpha and Beta Quadrant.
I know.
This is not information that's going to stay secret long.
No, I need to talk with Dr. Saval. Can you work on introducing a corruption into my translation matrix program so that it appears that we're still working on translating the objects?
I don't know about corruption, sir, but I am pretty certain we could probably work a loop that makes it seem like the translation we have is incomplete, and therefore no findings will be provided until we have a complete.
Good. Make that happen.
Okay. And I'm going to let you roll for Lieutenant Dori. I'm going to go reason security. So 11's your target. None of her focuses really apply here, but she does have her own momentum to spend, which she will spend out all 6 if you want her to at this point, but she'll spend as many as you want.
I think, what's the difficulty?
Difficulty is going to be a 3.
Ooh. Well, let's spend 3 for 2 dice.
Okay.
And real quick, what's the species trait for an Orion?
Oh, that's a fantastic question.
You may spend a threat to ask a question. So it's like the talent of the well-informed talent.
Yeah.
Okay. Just seeing if she's got any species talents that might be useful.
She does not at this stage.
She's got the moans, and that wasn't me. Okay. So yeah, just 4 dice then.
All right.
Looking for 11s in all the wrong places. Woohoo! 6 and 8 and 11 and a 12. 3 successes.
Dory is successful into creating that loop. It'll last indefinitely. As it's secured, this was in the Federation silo of work. Things in one lab are locked out from others, so she provides that information and locks this particular bit of study. And
Maybe
you're
we
going to
could.
have to talk to your dear friend who's in charge of the work here.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I got a wrong dialect of Herc. It's from the
Yeah,
southern region.
yeah, as one does.
Moth.
She's wrapping up here, making sure everything's secured. She's working on a few other things. She figures since they had to lock this down, she's going to help them with a couple other things. But she does say she'll be in attendance at the negotiations tomorrow to back you up.
Excellent.
Arrive for dinner at your friends.
I assume we attend one of the nicer establishments in town.
No, she has you over at her house.
Oh, I see. Okay. Then I bring a bottle of Trill Spring wine that I had stored in the shuttle. Never show up empty-handed as what would be a bad guest.
So strange. Used to hate that.
Yeah, a lot of things I used to hate, I like. A lot of things I liked, I hate. It's the price of the joining.
And is the other price shutting your friends out of important research? By the way, she's serving dinner as this, and she's cutting the meat like it's some steak meal of some kind.
Well, I'm just running a algorithm through some ancient herc that my past host had picked up along the way. See if that got us any closer to translating those alien artifacts. But Dorai's running it through, see if we can make any heads or tails of it. But it's going to take months to translate anything. Nothing I could find in 5 minutes.
So I'm going to spend 2 threat.
All right.
No, I'm going to spend. Yeah, I'm going to spend 2 threat, and I'm going to create the trait. I know Sabian, and she's about to ask you some outright questions, basically daring you to lie to her. Will say because the symbiote's involved, there is going to be a complication for her involved in this. So you can roll to create the difficulty. Her questions are obviously going to be around the technology. She's like, what are you really doing here? Why does my research matter?
That will be the easy one because I am genuinely here to negotiate the resettlement of the 20,000 Riemann refugees, the observation easement, and the patrol, incorporating the patrol route for that. That one's easy.
Yeah, but my research has nothing to do with that. Why are you shutting down my research team?
I'm not shutting down your research team.
Oh, you are. Everything we're doing here is focused on those 3 artifacts, and you just locked us out.
Did I?
Yeah, because that's the piece of it that the Federation was working on. The focus on the Federation science mission is those 3 artifacts.
No, I just was running the linguistics translation. That was what Dori and I were poking around. You guys are stuck on the translation, therefore,
Yeah.
uh,
Now,
one of my hosts, it's running. You think it's going to
and
spit out an answer in 20 minutes?
yes,
You have a high faith in me. I don't remember this faith back in primary school when you were always much better at alien languages than I was.
I was also better at poker, Sabian.
Yes, but I've
My people do not have access to the artifact. Our geologic studies and sampling, our mineralogy samples, our planned scans of the artifacts with some new spectral analysis equipment that was delivered recently. All of those things are currently not being allowed while your program is running.
can stop the
Telling me,
program if you'd like. I thought you were stuck on the my lieutenant told me you were all trying to make heads or tails of the symbology. I didn't realize it was going to jam up everything. I'll tap my comm badge. Tobor to Dori.
before you do that,
Yeah.
let's do the roll now.
All right.
So you set the parameters, and then she's gonna roll to see if she can suss it out.
So I'm gonna. Can I? So I want to use both my Tobor symbiote trait and my Starfleet command officer trait to
Mhm.
both enhance the my opposed difficulty success by 1 each because I understand being a Starfleet command track officer the risk if this information becomes public what it could do here and then the Tobor symbiote means she doesn't have the same level of read on me because she only knows Sabian from before.
Okay. I was factoring that in with the complication range, but yeah, that's fine. So I'll take away
Okay.
the complication and let you put it on that.
Yeah,
That's fine.
because what's a binary? Am I lying, or is she sussing me out if I'm lying or not? I'm gonna spend 1 momentum on an extra die
Okay.
on that, taking us to 4. Oh, I should probably tell you what I'm rolling, but presence command.
Okay.
So that's 3 successes. So the difficulty with the 2 traits is a 5 for her too.
Okay.
Uh,
So she has no Sabian, which is 1. She also is lead archaeologist trait. which reduces by 2 as well. So she is back to 3 with that.
All right. Trait bidding poker has begun.
Yes. So she buys 3 days so she can, or no, yes. And to do that, she takes 3 from the group threat pool, and then she takes 3 from her own personal threat pool.
Perfect. Spend that threat, Lee. You're never going to beat Dismuke's number at this point.
I've long since given up on that. I actually told him that the other day. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes.
All right. She gains 2 momentum.
Yep. So she gets her 2 back. And she looks at you and she says, Sabian, I'm an officer too. I'm not trying to get you in trouble.
And I'm trying to save your life.
When I last saw you as you, I said I could bear losing the dream for us that I once had. Being joined is never something that I will experience. And I will never begrudge another from that unique opportunity. And I've never held that against you. All I asked was one thing, that no matter who you ever were, you never lied to me. I have been sent from station to station, scientific mission to scientific mission, for years since we've been apart. This was my first leadership position. And I am so close. And not for 1 minute do I think this is going to stay with me. Every station I've been at in the last 5 years, some bit of my research has been commandeered by Starfleet intelligence. I know 15 scientists that have left Starfleet, 2 of which have left and rejected their Federation citizenship over the way information is being secreted away from the people who are supposed to get it. I never would have dreamed you'd have been part of that problem. If you tell me this is critical and this will save lives, I'll believe you and I won't speak of it, and I won't even fight to get that information back. But don't tell me that if it's not true.
So, let's speak in a hypothetical scenario. What if you were to discover through your diligent and brilliant work that the Etherian microforma is not naturally occurring, but is indeed created through some biomechanical synthetic process? And that you could create devices that could increase the yield of the microforma that is in the atmosphere to such a point that you could make this planet one of the most enriched and productive planets in the known galaxy.
I would say we could feed the world. We would have enough to take care of all of those Romulan refugees. I would say we could do the things that the Federation was created to do.
That's what I loved about you. Who's we, though, in this scenario?
The Federation, Starfleet.
This is not a Federation world. This is not... Your mission is not exclusive to any one polity. We like to think we live in a post-scarcity society, but there are cracks around the edges. You saw it during the Dominion War. I've experienced it in my dealings with the Talarians.
But this could provide endless food, endless real food for the species that need actual legitimate food that's not replicated. The waste products from that food could provide endless stores of biomatter for every replicator in the quadrant.
And what do you
Fully
think the
mechanized.
Orions would do with that? What do you think the Klingons would do with it? Or the Cardassians? The Dominion War was there on Condor when the Klingons and the Federation fought over the Quadrant's primary dilithium mine. 40% of the Federation's dilithium during the Klingon-Human War was mined in that one place. Billions died over that one piece of blood-soaked ground.
We're supposed to be better than that.
We might be, though things I have been dealing with these last few years make me not entirely convinced of that. And not every member of the Federation always lives up to its highest ideals. I know you do. I can see it in the way in which this is conflicted within you.
Every place I've worked for 5 years has had something taken.
I think that's because Starfleet understands how good you are and puts you in the place where it needs the most. I can't talk about what I've done for the last 5 years. It's almost all completely classified. Because they knew people like us could handle the sacrifice, the cost to the individual to ensure that our ideals are preserved.
She hits a button on a watch-like device she has, and the screen drops down on the wall in the dining room. And it's Starfleet orders. In 2 weeks, the mission here is being closed down. In 1 week, we were advised that Starfleet was sending an Oberth to pick up the artifacts. When you shut us down, I assumed they didn't want to wait a week.
No, that was not it. I needed time to digest all the implications of what Dori and I just found. What it could
I
mean
won't,
for the political stability of the quadrant and the lives of the colonists who live here.
I won't be working on archaeological science anymore. I've
Why
been
not?
ordered. I've been ordered to the shipyards adjacent to Andoria Prime.
Seems like a waste of your talents.
2 of my last 3 dig sites involved ancient cultures that work heavily with AI. And Starfleet is gearing up for the evacuation. So I'm to go and assist with AI programming at the Andorian shipyards.
I see.
It's not my specialty. Heck, I don't think I took a course on that since probably second year. But what good is being a lieutenant if you can't crunch numbers for some non-science department folks that need a job done? This was going to be my last shot at avoiding that fate to get a breakthrough here. To help some people.
So I take the pad I have and I hand it to her. And it has a copy of the translation and the implications of the device and the quick calculations we had done about the production and consumption equations.
The day an archaeologist, the day a scientist with a spade and a brush becomes Oppenheimer is the day this information hits the public.
Even I can see the implications of that.
You're doing the right thing.
But I want you to report it to Starfleet.
Can't do that. But, as you say, this is not a Starfleet world. I think the governor can be trusted. And I'm pretty sure that being assigned to program Sunian androids at some shipyard in Andoria is a good reason for a scientist who's been at the job too long to give up their commission. Talk to the governor. See what you can convince him to do. If he keeps a secret, if I keep working this in a way that we can apply it properly here without giving up the goods, we can feed people. You can house people that need a home. And just make sure that government demands that Starfleet intelligence stays out.
That's the tricky part.
No patrols. They'll have no reason to be here.
No patrols is nothing to stop raiders and pirates from swooping in and killing everyone and taking everything.
Find us some friends. Find us some friends.
See what I can do.
If your work here is good, maybe you can buy us a month or two. You give me 2 months, Sabian, I can bury the information that needs to be buried. You can get the deal you need to get, but you got to get us some friends.
Let me talk to the Admiral and see what I can do.
With that, she brings out a dessert. It's a Trill specialty. She recalls it being one of Sabian's favorites, and she says, I hope this isn't one of the things that you now hate. She sits down. It will shift to the next scene, but I'll keep the momentum just long enough for you to do any background stuff with the Admiral that you need to do the next day scene.
Essentially, contacting Picard through the channels I've got, and that I have a potential lead that could secure us the Riemann refugees, but it would require substantial security guarantees for the colony safety. Like, what is his ability to make any commitments?
Rafi reports back to you within about an hour, and she says, if you can finalize this stage of the negotiations, we can make sure there's no Federation traffic going anywhere near there other than the return craft for about the next 2 months while the Federation Council ratifies the treaty.
And we'll need the archaeological mission quietly extended until that time.
Sounds good.
And cancel the O berth that's scheduled to pick up the stuff.
Rafi smiles and she says, I did that before I talked to Picard.
No. Good. Glad we're on the same page.
She says, good friend of mine, fan of old Earth music, liked this song. I believe it was Every Rose Has a Thorn. I'll let him know that I finally took care of that little debt. So he did mention something about you were supposed to get me Trill spring wine at some point.
The Ferengi have a saying that you need to spend latinum to make latinum, so.
Of course.
I got plenty of them in my cabin in the Delamas Christian, so next time you're in my neck of the woods, swing on by.
Sounds like a plan. Let's go out.
3 momentum into the next scene.
Yep. All right. The next day you are at the negotiations. The governor is there and Lieutenant Dori is there. And
So before the meeting, the one thing I want to do is I'm going to create an air-gapped pad that has just enough of the information on the translation and what we found out about how to rebuild and restore the Etherian microforma devices to be able to whet the governor's appetite without any of the tech background pieces or anything.
okay.
So not the hows to
You're
negotiate.
gonna roll for that or just spend momentum to get that?
I'll roll for it if you don't mind.
Okay.
I'll take that.
It's creating a device of standard 2.
Let's see. So I'm going to do control science. I'm putting together the data and
Sure.
mixing and matching what I think is the most will be the most enticing. And I have Dory assist me. You know your cousin best. What would be, what would be the best phraseology?
She's
So I'm
gonna
going to
go
spend.
with she'll go with insight command on her end. So she'll
Correct.
be at a 10.
I will spend 1 momentum to get a third die.
All right.
9, 14, and a 12, so I have 3 successes.
Okay. Dory does not assist in this case.
I succeeded by 1.
Okay. But you did also had a trait that helps with anything involving the negotiations in general, and this is to aid that. So I would,
Okay.
so that's 2. So you get 2 momentum, you're at 4, and then you have your patient, which is a bonus momentum.
Yep.
Correct?
And so I'm going to spend the bonus momentum and the 1 to make this a potent 2 trait.
Okay. So I'll give you 3 off on that, correct?
Yes.
So
That'll leave me with 4 momentum going into the negotiation. Perfect.
Excellent. So in the negotiations, there's a lot of back and forth on the details.
And essentially, strategically, the way I'm thinking is we're going to do some back and forth. But when she gets to the point, I know where she's like, oh, how can we possibly feed that many more mouths? Is when I'm going to interject oh, didn't I tell you your cousin cracked the code on how to repair all of the Etherean microfauna equipment from the ancient civilization that used to live here? Drop that one right on the center of the table.
My goodness. The governor's arguments are largely in reference to, like you said, not having enough mouths to feed, not wanting to fight folks on Federation presence. That seems to be the bigger of the two sticking points for them. Because they have such an abundance of food, even without that, they probably could feed them, but it then just reduces their economy because then they don't have as much surplus to fund other endeavors. So with that, we will roll.
All right, so I'm gonna again command presence.
Yeah.
And I believe you said the difficulty was 4 or 3.
The difficulty was originally 5, but you have a reduction of 3 because of your traits.
All right, so I am going to spend 3 momentum to gain 2 dice.
Got it.
So it takes me down to 1. And then my diplomacy focus. Okay. 5, 3, 12, 7. 5, 3, 12, and 7. 4, 5, 6 successes.
Dori let at a couple points as you were leading up to this crux of the discussion, like some pointers here and there to lean into. Like she picked up on some tells using Insight Command on her cousin, like the areas where her cousin was putting up a strong front. That's not good enough for me, but but definitely intrigued and seemed to be excited. Dori commented during one of the recesses that she might even be planning what she could do with that part of the negotiation with that particular offer to aid you. And her role was a Starfleet chevron, so you get another 2 successes.
Excellent. So that looks like 8 successes, which is 6 over the negotiation, the amount.
Which would leave you with a bonus.
So we've got
One that has to be an
7
immediate spend.
plus my 2 bonus momentum for patient, because the Trill, like an Andorian, gets 1 per die bought.
Yep.
So we're currently now at 9 momentum.
Yep.
So I'm gonna spend. So resistance is 3, work is 5. We're at 2 work, and I'm gonna spend 8 to add 4 more work to bring it to a total of 6 work through the track.
Yep. So you said 6 total?
Yes, 6 for this one, 2 for the previous negotiation attempt, I believe. So that should be 8 out of the 12.
And that brings you to your first breakthrough.
All right.
So at this point, so Nassyria, she does open up to the patrol easement idea, but based on some minor alterations in the way you were talking with your friend, you've switched that priority to put like the refugees first, the easement last kind of thing, while still keeping it there because your job is to get to that, even though you know that's probably the thing you want the least of right now. So in that regard, she agrees to the settlement, including the agreements, but insists that she does not want to create a ghetto situation. Like they will work on building additional housing in the settlements where they are. And that way, whatever population arrives, they can be evenly distributed between all of the settlements. That way, they can integrate into the communities versus be their own community and build resentments or create resentments. She's adamant about the concept of creating ghettos is wrong. Integration for her is a hallmark. And you do realize at this point that was actually a bit of a sticking point for her. And with that particular issue settled, your resistance drops by 1. And she says we can talk more about this patrol easement situation tomorrow.
Of course.
She does mention at this point, however, and I'm spending 2 threat, that there is the added challenge of she is taking a meeting tomorrow with a representative from the Starfleet Corps of Engineers in reference to bringing on Sunian androids to the colony. And she says, since you're both from Starfleet and negotiating deals, I'd like you to be there. I won't necessarily talk about our negotiations, but if you see to it that we don't pay as much as they want us to pay for the androids, perhaps that may help your situation.
Okay. Well,
I mean, trade resources.
sure, yeah. I'm like, just if you've got any information on whom your appointment is, I can do a quick background check on him. And
I don't know. They're coming here on an Andorian shuttle. That's all. I didn't get their name.
it's funny. I saw like Sabian goes, he like lights up. He's like, what if I don't announce who I am in the meeting, come in civilians as one of your advisors, and we'll see what my colleague from Starfleet has been sent to entice you into this agreement with. And then based off that information, I can plug it into my resource channel and see what we can do.
That seems a little shady.
No, not at all. We'll just let him, because my presence in full uniform completely change the nature and tenor of your negotiations. If that's what you want, is to disrupt that. But if you want to
I don't
try
want to disrupt it. I just want to have you present.
but I think we can maybe strike the best deal for us if I come incognito.
Captain, forgive me if I say that seems like a Brazig style negotiating plan.
The Ferengi knows how to make strips of latinum.
No, sir. I think we'll take as is for now.
Yeah, just wanted to be a team player.
We're still in the same act, so no momentum change at this point, but we move to the next day. Is there anything you want to do overnight?
Yeah, I want to figure out who this other Starfleet officer is and what I can find on his mission, his negotiating position.
The Corps of Engineers, their logs are pretty open, and mostly because by being assigned to Aslan Station, you have access to Aegis, which operates out of. So you have pretty good access to what's going on. You do find that the names of the primary negotiators are pretty common. They seem to be on the up and up, but you notice there's a bit of oddness involved. One, they're not coming on a Starfleet vessel; they're coming on an Andorian private vessel. Two, the passenger manifest on that Andorian liner, private liner, is partially redacted.
All right. Well, that'll be interesting. The second thing I want to do is to get in touch with Brazig.
Okay. Did you wanna try to figure out what's going on with that redaction and then figure out the weirdness?
Nah, we'll figure out the weirdness later.
Okay.
I don't think it's going
And
to
what do
play
you
too much into my negotiation, but we'll see.
okay. And what did you want with Razik? He's pretty easily available.
He better
Captain!
be. Damon, how are you? I
Couldn't be
have it.
better. Like I'm living on a sea of latinum.
Very good. Well, good thing I caught you before you drowned in all that latinum, because I've got a business offer for you that I think you might interest set your lobes a tingling.
I'm all ears.
What do you know of Velkaria? So what if I was able to tell you that they may have found a way to increase their yield harvest, assuming they had some entrepreneurial shipping magnate who could take all of that excess foodstuffs off their hand and see that it flows down the great river of the material continuum to the places where it's needed most and had the latinum to where supply meets demand.
I can get anything just about anywhere in this area of Spain. They're a little far out from my normal routes, so I'd probably have to look at investing in some more ships. But with the ship construction facilities near at New Zenda or in the New Zenda system, I'm sure we could make something happen over time. I'm sure we can work something out. I'll get working on a proposal.
I'll let the governor know to expect to hear from you in the near future.
Sounds good.
All right. Stay out of trouble. I'm not on the ship. I won't be able to come rescue you this time.
Who, me? I never get in any trouble.
Now, to think of it, Ocean's on leave. I think Tanari's in charge, so have a care.
I'd love to. Unfortunately, I'm in the middle of a delivery at the Endorian shipyards.
Huh. You'll have to tell me all about it next time we're at Aslan Station.
Absolutely, I'm on my way back after here. I've got a couple days here. We're picking up some equipment and stuff, and then we're off to Utopia Planitia, and then back to Aslan Station. So be a couple months, but I'll be there.
All right. Well, I'll see you then. Tobor out.
Brazil gone.
So can I
Are
parlay that into the trade deal advantage
yeah,
for the upcoming negotiation?
yep.
I think I got what I need.
Okay. The negotiations. You're in the office. You're talking. The other party has not arrived, but the governor says, "Look, I want to get this done. Let's get down to business." She's got her pad. She's doing some number. Dori interjects with some scientific information or whatever, talking about how easy it will be to create the necessary additional spaceports. Identifies several hundred settlement sites with one that could eventually as big as the capital and 15 or 20 the size of the other two larger settlements, and all of that can be done while preserving archaeological sites and being safe. We are at the rolling phase. You have 6 momentum going in. You are reducing by 4, so your difficulty is only a 1 at this stage. Dori is there. The governor seems to want a little something. She is spending her remaining 3 to increase that complication range by 2.
Yeah,
So
right.
so that would be 18, 19, 20 on the complication range.
The resistance is down to 2. If I succeed on a 5, that's 3 work. So I only need one more. 12 to complete the track.
Yep.
Or it's 12 and then I need one more to complete.
Beats it, right?
I So I just need to generate 2 momentum off of that. And you said how much we have?
You have 6.
You know what? I'm gonna let, since Dory's doing the present, I'm gonna let Dory lead and I'm gonna assist her on the science. And where this is the lay out the science plan of how the house and what we're gonna
Okay.
do.
All right. So since it's lay out the science, she'll do reason science then. So that'll be 14. And she is avoiding the archaeological site. So in that case, archaeology will work. So she does have a focus. 14 is her target. I'm going to let you roll for her, by the way. She
Sure.
has 3 momentum to spend, so she can spend out and buy the extra dice. That's off of her personal pool, not the general pool.
We'll just actually, yeah, we'll buy 1 die at the personal pool.
Okay. So that's 3.
All right, so 12, a 13, and a 2.
That would be 4 success,
And then
which would
I am,
be, yep, that's 5 momentum, right? Or no, that would be 3 momentum.
is the difficulty still 4, 5, still 2, right?
Yep.
Okay, we're succeeding by a 2. I'm going to spend my determination
Yep.
point and Starfleet is more than the uniform. It is the ideal. And I'm going to use that for my assist die as a 1.
How
So
many
that's 6
successes?
successes,
All right.
which is
5 bonus and 6 on the deck.
so we push all that in for the necessary work because it should be 4 work
Yep.
for her science, minus 2 for the resistance is 2 work, and then
Yep.
we need to spend at least 4 of that, like 6 plus 6, 12. Uh,
Yep.
and then we make a bunch of traits that are like everyone wins. This is a great plan. No one's mad. Brazic gets his trade deal. Just
Yeah. Yeah. All the dominoes fall into place. She ends up being exceptionally excited and just remarkably excited.
and I can do it. And now I will let you two have a minute to reconcile. And I mosey on out.
As you exit, the Starfleet Corps of Engineer person's typing feverishly on a pad. He's sitting like on the couch in the waiting room. The Sunian android is receptionist is there, and it's a lieutenant commander, so fairly high ranking, but he's just busy at it. But his brow is furrowed, and he seems worried about something.
You seem worried about something, Commander.
Oh, he stands up, sir.
Oh, howdy.
Yeah, I was supposed to meet my security chief here. We were supposed to go over some of the security details, but my ship is reporting that they have gone off comms, so I'm trying to direct scans to find them.
Any luck so far?
They just reported to me that he booked passage on a outgoing Klingon freighter.
Don't
So
tell me your security chief's Vulcan. Goes by Shinnok.
why would you know that, sir? And with that, we end the cost of kindness.